So, imimix ko lang siya with my Hey everyone! Today we're going to bake the fudgiest brownies that you could ever imagine. So please tune in. So if you like brownies and if you like eating healthy things, I have the perfect thing for you. Now, hindi ko pa ito nasusubukan. I just saw a lot of videos online, saw lots of recipes online, and I want to give it a try. So as you can see, I have my food processor set up kasi the brownies that we're making is a bit unconventional. Now, huwag nyo isa-stop yung video kasi hindi pa naman natin natatry if it's really good or if it's kadire. So if it's kadire, go ahead, ditch me. But if it's really good, you will regret stopping this video. So, I'm mentioning that it's unconventional kasi instead of flour, we are using black beans. Yes, so tama po yung rinig nyo. So, we are using black beans instead of flour. So, not only could this be gluten-free, it could also be vegan, so you could make it as healthy as you want it to be. So I know that in a lot of Filipino dishes or Chinese dishes, we actually use black beans, but this is a different kind of black beans. So I'll show it to you. As you can see, the black beans are a bit bigger. So just make sure that you are buying the correct black beans. So I think this is more common in Latin America than in Asia. I'll show you what not to buy. So I have a Tetra Pak of what we commonly use here in the Philippines. So I think we use this for dishes like tinochang bangus or some Chinese dishes like tao si spare ribs or whatever. So this is not the beans that I want you to use. So medyo kadiri if you use this kind of black beans. So I think this is soy black beans and super maalat siya. Whereas yung beans that we're using today is flavorless. So just make sure that you're choosing the right beans. So I'm just using a cup and a half of the already cooked black beans. So lalagay lang natin siya sa food processor. And in the food processor, we're just really going to use the most basic blade. So we're just going to process this along with the other liquid ingredients. The recipe called for agave or maple syrup. So if you're making something vegan, I would suggest using agave or maple syrup. Pero kasi wala akong agave or maple syrup, I only had honey. Pero honey is also not vegan, or I think it's debatable whether it's vegan or not. So we're not going to make this vegan. I'm going to use sweetened condensed milk. This is an experiment kasi in the recipe, they didn't say that you could use sweetened condensed milk. But yung consistency kasi ng sweetened condensed milk, I figured is very similar to maple syrup. Plus, I already use condensed milk for gravel bars and other sweets, so I think this will be good with the brownies. Tapos, it also called for, I think, 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. So here I'm just using canola. And then, this is not a wet ingredient, this is actually a dry ingredient. Pero I want it to be processed kasi. So, isasabay ko na siya dun sa processing. So, this is 1/2 cup of quick cooking oats. We want it to be super smooth. So, imimix ko lang siya with my So, I want it to be super smooth. So, imimix ko lang siya with my spatula just to make sure that nothing is left behind. Saka everything is really durog, like super kinis talaga dapat. And you're working with beans, so it's not really an easy thing to do. So, make sure talaga na super durog siya. If you don't have a food processor, you could also use a blender. Actually, in some recipes, my blender works better for me. Sometimes pag blender yung gamit, super kinis niya. Whereas sa food processor, it's not as makinis as that. Now, let's add in the rest of the other ingredients that will make the brownies. So, to make it brownies, of course, we need cocoa powder. So, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. The cocoa powder that I'm using is a Dutch processed cocoa powder. Kasi this is the only thing that I have. I don't have the regular kind. I'm not exactly sure if it requires a Dutch processed cocoa powder or if pwede ba yung Dutch processed cocoa powder. But what I like with the Dutch processed cocoa powder is it's a lot darker. So appearance-wise, the brownies look better kasi mas dark siya. Tapos, I will just be adding some coffee. So the coffee, actually, the recipe didn't really call for coffee. But for chocolate recipes, it's really nice to add some coffee. So I'm just adding like 3/4 teaspoon of coffee. Feeling ko it will be good. Tapos it calls for 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I'm not really a vanilla fan, so maybe adjust ko lang siya to 1. So I also need 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Tapos, I just need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just to balance everything out. Then let's process it again. The recipe actually calls for 2 tablespoons of sugar. However, I don't know kung matamis na kasi to kasi I used sweetened condensed milk. So I'll try it first. Hindi pa siya matamis, so I'll still add some sugar. So now, I will just fold in some chocolate chips. Yung oven ko is already preheating, so it's already preheating to 180 degrees. Yung chocolate chips, we will just add it and fold it in instead of using the food processor kasi madudurog siya if we use the blade. So the recipe actually calls for 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. However, I don't think this is enough. This is less than a cup. I think I just really have a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. Pero pweds na. I'm using a fairly small baking dish. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is like a 6x4. In the website, the girl used an 8x8 pan. However, nabasag na kasi yung 8x8 pan ko nung cats. And I also have an 8x9. Pero in the website that I visited, ang nipis masyado ng brownies niya for the 8x8 pan. So I decided to use a smaller pan just so that we have a chunkier brownie. Kasi I know that people like yung mas makapal na brownie and it looks prettier. So transfer lang natin siya sa baking dish. It actually looks really good. So my brownies are out of the oven. Actually, they're out of the fridge kasi I baked these for 18 minutes. Pero with brownies, you really have to cool them. You really have to be patient in order for you to get a really good slice. I haven't made brownies in forever. Actually, I think I haven't made brownies in like almost 2 years or something. I really have a bad throat. It really sucks to be gay with an inferior throat. We love our iced coffees, so it's really hard for me to drink iced coffee and eat sweet things, but I have to live with it. So, it's a bit cold kasi nga diba, we're making fudgy brownies, and with fudgy brownies, we really have to cool it completely. So, it's completely cold. So now I will take it out of my baking dish and transfer it to a chopping board. So as you can see, I'm using a plastic knife. This is actually a really dull knife, but what I learned from years of making brownies is the best knife to use to cut brownies would be a plastic knife kasi hindi siya dumidikit dun sa plastic knife. So let's cut the brownies. I'm so excited to taste it. So there you have it. These are the brownies. They look so good. They look so fudgy. Now what's left is for us to try them. So let us try them. Grabe, the brownies are so fudgy. Sobrang, if you really like fudgy brownies, this may be a good recipe. So texture-wise, it's a super fudgy brownie. Taste-wise, I like that it's not too sweet kasi nga, because I made this myself, I could adjust the amount of sweetness. The condensed milk worked well as a sweetener, as well as the added sugar that I did. So I think for the taste, it's really perfect kasi I could really adjust it. The only thing that I would note of is, I'm not sure if it's really just me kasi ako nga yung gumawa and I know that there's beans in it. I feel like I could still taste it a bit, but maybe if other people would try it and not knowing that there's beans in it, baka hindi nila malaman. So I got this recipe online. I will link it in the description box down below. For the nutrition facts, this is actually a pretty healthy brownie. So for each serving of brownie, you get 2.5 grams of protein and 3 grams of fiber. So that's quite plenty, considering that if you're going to eat a regular brownie, it wouldn't be as high. So there you have it, fudgy brownies made out of black beans. If you like content like this, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to participate as a food tester and you want to collaborate with me, please reach out to me. All my details are in the description box down below. Please follow me on all my socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at totallyalvin. I will see you again next time. Bye!